House of the Dragon is bigger than its big brother. We're totally psyched to see Matt Smith as Prince Daemon, but how do the actors from the original series feel about it? Are they gonna watch it, skip it, or just don't care? Stay tuned as we reveal how Maise Williams, Emilia Clarke, and other Game of Thrones actors feel about the highly anticipated prequel. First up, Maise Williams seems pretty excited. We've all seen Emilia Clarke's response when a reporter asked her what she thinks of Game of Thrones' 8th season. She blurted out laughing and sarcastically said that it's the best season ever. Emilia, never change. Your dancing eyebrows give us life. Despite how the final season concluded, Game of Thrones reshaped our ideas of what a TV show can be. But the entire cast seemed unhappy with how D&D handled the 8th and final run of the show. So we get it if they might be nervous about the prequel, although they don't have to be. For starters, D&D isn't involved with House of the Dragon in any way. Woohoo! It's being executive produced by acclaimed Game of Thrones director Miguel Sapochnik and the man himself, George R.R. Martin. We're really excited, and so is Maisee Williams apparently. Variety recently caught up with her for an interview, and she said that she's definitely tuning in for House of the Dragon. For one thing, Olivia Cooke, who's playing Lady Alicent Hightower, is a really good friend of hers. They've both chatted about Cooke's overwhelming experience filming a show as large as this one. It's definitely gotta be a bit overwhelming, considering you're part of a franchise that millions of people are extremely passionate about. Williams also mentioned that audiences are still sorta hungover about the way Game of Thrones ended, and their concerns are piling onto a new cast that had nothing to do with the original. But she's also pretty excited to watch a Game of Thrones show without being part of it. When Game of Thrones was at its peak, Maise Williams became a household name. Everyone knew her as Arya Stark, so whenever fans hyped up the show to her, she couldn't really relate to their excitement. And now she'll be a part of the audience. She's going to experience it from the outside looking in. We're gonna keep a lookout for her reviews on the prequel cause we're sure she's gonna have things to say. Next, Peter Dinklage also gave us some cool insight into what makes a sequel or prequel in this case work. While promoting his 2021 musical drama Cyrano, he discussed his concerns about the prequel with The Independent. According to him, the trick would be to not recreate Game of Thrones. That is, the showrunners need to come up with a fresh identity for the prequel, something that makes it stand out from Thrones. Dinklage warned that if they try to recreate the original, it'd just be a cash grab and wouldn't be as strong on its own. It'd just end up in the huge shadow that Thrones has left behind. We agree with that. Expecting to create the same vibe as the original would just weaken the prequel, and its strength would be to create a tone and look that's completely its own and doesn't borrow from its big brother. Either way though, Dinklage admitted that he's excited to watch House of the Dragon, and just like Maise Williams, he wants to be on the outside looking in this time, totally in the dark about what's gonna happen next. Peter, you're not ready, and neither are we. And now, Emilia Clarke's got some cool advice. So, we have a question. If you were one of the biggest stars on a TV show, what advice would you give to the cast that's making the prequel? Emilia Clarke's got you covered there. The Hollywood Reporter asked her whether the House of the Dragon's actors should just bleach their hair to play Targaryen characters. Targaryens, of course, are known for their shiny white hair. Clarke bleached her own natural brown hair for the final season of Game of Thrones, and the results, according to her, were pretty terrible. Her hair was so fried that she was forced to cut it all. Her advice to the cast: don't bleach your hair. Just keep your natural color. It wasn't worth it for Clarke, and she'd never do that again. It seems like the showrunners saw that interview, because when the first stills from the House of the Dragon set were released, the cast had the signature Targaryen hair, but it looked a lot like wigs. Good for you guys. We wouldn't want our locks damaged either. And as for how Clarke feels about the prequel, when she saw the set photos of House of the Dragon, she felt that it was really surreal. We bet it's the same for Maisy and Dinklage too, cause they're all on the outside now. They're the audience, and the wholesome human being that Clarke is, she wished the new cast the best of luck for their first season. Time for Nicola Coster-Waldau's reaction to the trailer. Speaking of surreal, guess who else shares Clarke's sentiments about the prequel? During the Cannes Film Festival, Nicola Coster-Waldau opened up to People magazine about House of the Dragon. The acclaimed Jaime Lannister actor said that the official trailer for the series felt very familiar to watch, and that the show might even feel weird and surreal. Although he's positive that executive producer Miguel Sapochnik is going to create a worthwhile TV show, he's nonetheless nervous about seeing it from the other side. We're sensing a theme here. Nearly every actor who's starred in the original feels the same way about the prequel. Yes, they're excited to watch it as outsiders and get the thrill thrills that mainstream audiences did when they tuned into Game of Thrones every week, but they're also the only people who have experienced making a show as grand as Thrones. They know it from the inside out. Kit Harington said something really similar last year while promoting the MCU film Eternals. When asked about his thoughts on the prequel, he admitted that it's gonna be painful to watch. The actor has a lot of emotion connected to the original, and since the prequel is similar in terms of its music and tone, it'll obviously trigger the same feelings that the original did when he was a part of it. But he said that he's still going to watch it, and we'd be sad if he didn't tune in with the rest of us. And now for some other news, starting with HBO gives update on future Game of Thrones spin-offs after House of the Dragon. House of the Dragon drops in August, but there's news of another spin-off already? Kara Buckley, Vice President of Original Programming at HBO, spoke at the ATX Television Festival recently and revealed what else Game of Thrones fans can expect after House of the Dragon. While she didn't spill all the beans, she did mention that they're still developing a lot of ideas, but their main focus right now is the prequel. Nothing else is set in stone. She also clarified that they're not gonna make sequels just for the sake of making them and raking in some cash. The next spin-off idea had to be creatively exciting for them because otherwise it doesn't make sense. And she's right. Fans deserve a show that has flawless writing and visuals. It has to mean something. If not, then it's just filler. And a franchise as huge as Game of Thrones doesn't deserve that. Next, George R.R. Martin reacts to the first 9 episodes of the prequel. We're kinda jealous that Martin's already seen the first 9 episodes of House of the Dragon, but hey, that's the privilege of being an executive producer of the show and creating the original thing. In the Not a Blog section of his website, Martin revealed that he's impressed by the quality of the show. He described the acting, directing, and the writing as being first-rate, and that's really promising. He also assured fans that the prequel is a faithful recreation of the Fire and Blood, even if it makes a few changes to the story. That's fine though, because translating a novel to a screenplay is a difficult task. Ryan Condal, who co-created the show with Martin, got some praise in the author's blog, so that's something, right? And hey, if Martin's happy with the results, then so are we. In Martin, we trust. And finally, R.R. Martin reacts to intense fan demand for Winds of Winter. Okay, this just got real. We've been waiting for Winds of Winter for 11 years now. What gives? Well, hold on a second. Martin's opened up about it. He recently spoke on the Coupledom podcast and discussed how vicious the criticism on social media can be, especially on Twitter and Instagram. The guy could say, "Happy Thanksgiving," and there'll be a few fans who say, "Who cares about Thanksgiving? Where's the book, Martin?" Martin describes the passion or viciousness as being both love and hate. The two things are really close when it comes to comic books or established franchises like Star Wars or Marvel. You know, we feel bad about this. His priority has been House of the Dragon recently and making the show as good as possible for fans. But other than that, he's got a ton of other projects that he's busy with. So the author deserves a break in our opinion. Winds of Winter will come when it comes. And that's a wrap, fellas. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.